Good morning. Hand today is going to be Jack 10 of clubs. We are in the late early position. Folds to us, I open raise. We get two callers, and then folds around to the blind, and he calls. So this EP3, I've got arranged something like this. I could go a little bit wider, but I've been kind of tightening it up a little bit. This is a 5NL game. I think players tend to be a little bit looser in a 5NL game. So because of that, I don't think we should be expanding our range as much as we should. Like all of this expanded range hands, all of these light blues, I just don't think we should be playing them. And in fact, I don't think we should be playing some of our green hands either. These raise for stint hands. Depends on the situation here. I've been playing at the table. We do have some new players, but I was feeling comfortable playing this, so I just went ahead and raised. Villain 1's playing 20-12 with a 1% 3-bet range over almost 900 hands. We do have a pretty decent read on him. We can look at called 2-bet stats. He's got 2-bet stats from the blinds. He's got called 3-bets in position. So like just called 2-bets from the blind. It looks like he's got pocket pairs, some suited aces, suited broadways and stuff. He looks pretty wide. His 3-bet range is just kings and ace king. So what I did was aces and kings, I said, are probably his automatic 3-bets, and then ace king I'm going to scale to 50%. Everything else we've got to let. This is 11%. I think this is probably okay. Maybe the ace 4, ace 5. Maybe those should be these suited connectors down here. I'm just going to leave him as ace 4, ace 5 and see what we can do. This next guy we don't know much about. He's got four hands here. I'm just going to go kind of like to a default range. Assume he'll 3-bet queens plus ace king. Give him suited aces, suited broadways, some offsuit Broadway stuff. This is 17%. That could be too wide, could be too tight, who knows. But I just have to have a starting point. And then button, I've got 100 hands. He's playing 23% overall. From the big blind, he's playing 27% with the cold call of 33%. I think at this point, he's going to probably open up his range to be closer to this value. His 3-bet, he hasn't in 47 opportunities, so we're just going to go something like this. This is 33%. Again, queens plus ace king, I assume, is going to be his 3-bet. So 4 of us see the flop, and the flop was actually really good to us. We flopped the straight. Checked. Now, with our straight, we're definitely going to go for value. Question is, what other hands, in our range would we be c-betting in this case? This is a 4-way pot. So we're just going to start with, if this was heads up, we have possibility of straight, we have possibility of flush draws, which means we're going to be c-betting a bit more. So just between the flush draws and the gut shots, we're at 12%. And that's 2-card gut shot. We also have 1-card gut shots. We also have 1-card gut shots that we could add. Now some of this includes like queen jack and queen 10. So that's at 27% flush draws, gut shots. To balance that, we're looking at betting our straights, we're betting our sets. I think we're betting our overpairs too, and then probably doing some of our top pairs. I think the queen jack, queen 10 all figure out into our gut shot range. So we've got king queen ace queen, and that's still, I think, a little too much. So if we go ahead and take out our top pair, that gets us a little bit better, a little bit more balance. We still need some other ones. So I think here we're going to probably add maybe like pocket pair, like pocket sevens maybe. Something kind of weakish, like toward the weaker end of our range. And then, maybe like a 2-card backdoor flush draw, maybe like ace king. something like that. So that gets us to about 70%. Now this is multi-way, so I don't think we're going to be betting as often in a multi-way pot because this is going to hit a lot of people. We're not going to be able to fold everyone out. So I kind of feel like we're still going to be betting our straights. We're still going to be betting our sets, but our overpair might actually now become like a check call. And since that's a check call, I don't think we're going to be betting everything. Like all these one card gut shots, all of these gut shots, period, I don't think we're going to be playing. So I would probably go for like Queen Jack, Queen 10. So those are pair plus gut shots. Yeah, maybe just like that. Maybe just those like Queen Jack, Queen 10, and then leave like King Jack, King 10 as like a check call. Our flush draws, though, I do think we can bet. We've got combo draws going on those. This brings our C betting range down to like 26%, and I think that's a little bit better given that we have 3 opponents. So I made a C bet. Half pot is probably okay. It's hard for me to judge pot, bet sizes in these multi-way pots. I don't think we're going to get everyone to fold. So, but I kind of feel like a third pot looks a little too small. We don't want to encourage a lot of calls. I think a third 1/2 is probably okay. I think 2/3 is getting too large unless we have a big draw, big hand, like kind of like what we do. So I bet half pot, and this guy folds. So he must have had like one of these under pairs. This guy calls. What's he calling with? Could have a straight, could have a set, could have 2 pair. It's a possibility that sets or 2 pair are going to be raising, or even the straight's going to raise. I think top pair is going to be calling. Flush, open ender is going to probably call. Maybe the gut shot. Maybe the gut shots here. I don't, and we're going to say Jack and 10. So I think Jacks and 10s are caught on there. I really don't think some of these other hands, like the middle pairs, the 9 and the 8, I just don't know if they're going to call or not. Big unknown. I think this would be like an easy just fold. We'll include these, like the ace 9, king 9, jack 9, 10 9. So at least that's middle pair. Maybe he'll fold to a second bet. So we'll have a call there, and then big blind fold. So now we are heads up. And I really should be like way ahead here. All right, so 2 diamonds comes out. And I don't think that, changes anything where we stand. The question, though, is at this 5 NL game, what do we do? Our goal is to try to get stacks in with this hand. If he was calling with those middle pairs, I think he folds them to a second bet. And the question is, what percentage of his hands are those middle pairs? So you could see, like, I think now, let's just see what he calls. Straight sets, 2 pair calls. Top pair, maybe. Yeah, probably top pair calls. So we're at 51%. And then we've just got a couple more. Flush draws there, open enders there. I don't really think the gut shots are going to really be calling. Maybe we could put like a percentage down for them, but definitely at least 51%. So I think we could easily c-bet here again. But if we c-bet, we're going to probably have, if we're going to try for stacks, we're going to need to go bigger than half pot. So if we go half pot here, that's 12. That brings our stack to 80, but it only brings up the pot to 48. So we would have to do 2x the pot. If we do 24, that's going to be a whole lot better, because now it's going to get us up to about 75 in the pot, and we're going to have about 75 in the stack. If I do pot, I think we're going to really start to fold out some of these other hands. But we may have a possibility of checking, kind of like what I did, and hope that he bets. So if we check, I do think now he's going to be betting the straight. He's going to probably bet the set and the 2 pair. And then maybe the top pair just checks. I'd like to think that the top pair is going to be betting though. So let's do this. Let's just say top pair, 50% chance that they don't bet. And that kind of leaves all the other weak hands. So flush draw, open ender, gut shot minus these bigger hands. And of course, well, the queens are out. Oops. Get that fixed. Just take them out. So something like that. So I just feel like we probably could have gone, if we bet, I think set raises, I think a straight raises. I think 2 pair has a possibility of raising at this point to kind of protect against their hand. I think we probably could do a little bit better just by leading here and hoping that he raises us. Because right now, once we checked, he's, and he checks behind, we just lost the street of value. It's going to be much harder to get stacks at this point. Virtually non-existent. So if five of spades comes out, I do think that once we checked and what we're planning to go for a check raise, I think we have to continue that. I think it looks way too strange, way too strong for us to bet flop, check turn, and then lead again on the river. Now it's possible, but I think just in general, based on the strategy, that's an odd line, like a weird line to take, unless we really know our opponent, like really knows that if we check to him, they attack the weakness with a common bet. But in this case, they just chose to check. So here I checked. Villain checks behind. At this point, we're looking at best top pair. So, I mean, without even seeing anything, I think I kind of got screwed up by that check on the turn. I think we should have continued betting. Maybe pot is too big. Maybe we go up to 2/3 pot with our hand. I do think flush draws are going to call. I think some of the straight draws are going to call. Maybe not all the straight draws, but perhaps some of them will call. And that's going to be a good way to try to get value from our hand. And I didn't get any value. So he shows pocket threes, which is kind of interesting because I excluded that from his range. Like he called, if he called with those, he's calling with all of those pocket pairs. So then on 2 diamonds comes out, he's got all of those hands. Now, if I bet, do I think he's going to call? No, probably not. So I think in the end, I probably did what I could to try to get him to call, get money from him. But I think in general, I don't really like my line. I don't like my line unless I have a specific read on the opponent. So let's see what this guy looks like. Like we have a lot of hands on him. So probe 71%. So this is the guy who looks like he will call. And then if check 2, it looks like he probes. Makes a probe bet. With a high frequency. So if this was villain 1, I think that play could probably work. We check, he bets, we check raise, or maybe even call to try to get a hand, or to try to get money in the pot. Just kind of depends on what he does. How much he bets. If he bets like on that lower side, like half pot, I think we call. If he bets larger, I think we just check raise and go all in. I think a flush draw or a flush with the straight draw is probably going to do that, and maybe he calls with his queen. This player, we don't have much information, so I think the better play is just to continue firing on the turn. Maybe go to 2/3. and see what he does. I don't think he's paying me anymore, but it is what it is. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully, you agree that my play just kind of sucked on this hand, and hopefully we learn from it and we don't do it again. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.